Ever wonder how a high school kid became the king of the NBA? Let's talk about LeBron James.
I'm Leah, and I'm excited for this one. There's so much heart and history here.
I'm Garrett, eager to dive in. Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today's topic is LeBron James, the basketball superstar people call King James, and honestly, that nickname fits for a reason. Quick story to set the scene. I remember seeing his high school game against Oak Hill Academy on ESPN2. It might have been a replay, but I was a kid, and it blew my mind that a teenager was on national TV. Oak Hill is a national prep powerhouse, and seeing LeBron glide past defenders at that age, I just thought, that's so wild. He looked like a pro already.
All right, let's set the stage. LeBron James is an American professional basketball player. People call him King James. He's the NBA's all-time leading scorer, which means no one has ever scored more total points in league history. He's also a record 22-time All-Star, and an All-Star is basically the league's mid-season showcase for the best players that year. He's been great for so long that the word longevity actually undersells it.
And he's not just a scorer. He ranks fourth all-time in assists. Assists are the final pass that leads directly to a made basket, so that's elite playmaking. He's also sixth in steals, showing defensive instincts. If you're newer to basketball, picture a superhero who can fly, lift heavy things, and solve puzzles. LeBron's like that on a court, mixing scoring power, passing vision, and defensive reads all in one package.
He's played pretty much every front court spot, usually small forward or power forward, but he's often called a point forward, which just means a forward who runs the offense like a point guard. He even led the NBA in assists in 2019, and as the oldest active player now, he holds records for most seasons, games, minutes, and field goals made. That's durability on a historic level.
Let's unpack the early chapters. LeBron was born in Akron, Ohio, and raised by his mother, Gloria, who had him at 16. Times were tough, and they moved a lot. For stability, he spent time with Frank Walker's family, and Frank, a local youth football coach, introduced him to basketball at 9. That mentorship mattered. It gave him structure and a way forward.
In high school at St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, he and his core friends, Cian Cotton, Drew Joyce III, and Willie McGee, became the Fab Four, and they dominated. Demand got so wild that some games moved to the University of Akron's bigger arena. He made the cover of Sports Illustrated as a junior, the first underclassman to do it, basically a national spotlight saying, "This kid is already a headline."
There were controversies, too. The Ohio High School Athletic Association, or OHSAA, looked into the Hummer H2 he got from his mom for his 18th birthday. It was cleared because it was a family gift. Later, he was briefly ruled ineligible for accepting 2 throwback jerseys worth $845 in exchange for photos. On appeal, that became a 2-game suspension and a forfeited win. In his first game back, he dropped 52 points, which wasn't just a response, that was a statement.
And the fame machine was already humming. A cable company even sold some of his high school games on pay-per-view, $8 a pop in Ohio, even though they expected to lose money. It was a test balloon for what we see now with high school broadcasts and streams. By the time he finished his senior year, he was the top prospect, easily.
Then, the NBA chapter opens. In 2003, Cleveland picked him first overall in the draft. In his debut, he scored 25 points, which immediately said the hype is real. He snagged Rookie of the Year and made the All-Star game by year 2. If you hear people say to 20 to 5 for his rookie season, that means he averaged at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's rare air for a first-year player.
The playoff legend starts fast, too. In 2007, he led Cleveland to its first NBA Finals after an epic Game 5 in the Eastern Conference Finals against Detroit. He scored 48 points and poured in Cleveland's last 25. ESPN later called it one of the greatest modern playoff performances. The Spurs swept Cleveland in the finals, which showed the roster gap, but that run stamped him as a closer under pressure.
Awards piled up. He won back-to-back regular season MVPs in 2009 and 2010. MVP stands for Most Valuable Player, the top individual award for the season. Then came the decision, the 2010 TV special announcing he'd join the Miami Heat. It was controversial, but it also marked a new era of players controlling their narratives and teaming up openly.
In Miami, he delivered. The Heat won titles in 2012 and 2013, and he took Finals MVP both times. 2012 was a monster year. NBA champion, Olympic gold in London, and USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year. That's peak on multiple stages: league, international play, and broader recognition all at once.
Then he went home. In 2014, he returned to Cleveland, and in 2016, he led the Cavaliers to their first championship, ending the city's long drought. For a lot of people, that win reframed his entire story from departure to redemption. It's one of those sports moments that carries civic weight, not just a trophy.
Next chapter, Los Angeles. He joined the Lakers in 2018, led the league in assists in 2019, and in 2020 won another title. He became the first player ever to win Finals MVP with 3 different teams: Miami, Cleveland, and the Lakers. That's adaptability across systems and rosters. He kept adding too. In 2023, he won the new NBA Cup and was named its first MVP, and in 2024, he took Olympic gold again and was named Olympics MVP.
Off the court, his business profile is massive. In 2021, he became the first active NBA player to reach $1 billion in career earnings. That's salary plus endorsements. He's been a frequent Time 100 selection, which is Time magazine's list of the most influential people, and he's landed on Forbes' highest paid athletes lists again and again. Put simply, he's a global brand as much as he's an all-time player.
All right, let's roll on to the evergreen debate. Is LeBron the greatest of all time? The GOAT? GOAT is just a shortcut way to say greatest player ever. I'll play the skeptic here. His finals record isn't spotless, and if you prize peak dominance above all else, you might argue others had a higher top gear for shorter stretches.
Totally fair to ask that. My case starts with the breadth of his impact. He's the all-time leading scorer and still 4th in assists and 6th in steals. That's scoring plus playmaking plus defense, all at elite volume. He has 4 regular season MVPs, 4 finals MVPs, 10 finals appearances, and 8 straight from 2011 to 2018. The durability and year-over-year leadership is, unique. Longevity matters, because staying at the top that long is its own kind of dominance.
I hear that. I also think era context matters. Rules, spacing, and team construction shift across decades, so it's tricky to compare different ecosystems. Some folks weigh rings, the total championships, more heavily, which can tilt things toward players with fewer losses on the biggest stage.
For sure. I'd counter with adaptability. Winning Finals MVP with 3 different teams suggests his value travels. New coaches, new teammates, new systems, and he still shapes the outcome. And those 8 straight finals runs through injuries and roster churn in the salary cap era, that's consistency against built-in parity. Real talk, it's like solving a different puzzle every year and still finishing the picture.
So we land here. What you value drives your answer. Peak versus longevity, rings versus an all-around portfolio, and how you read the era. I'm cool admitting there isn't a single right answer. It's a framework choice.
Speaking of frameworks, pop culture shaped a lot of this. The decision, that 2010 TV special, was controversial, but it changed how athletes use media to announce moves. And his pregame chalk toss, throwing powder into the air, became a visual signature. It's simple, but it turned into a ritual fans anticipated on TV and in arenas.
All right, counterfactual time. What if he'd been allowed to enter the NBA as a junior in high school in 2002 when he petitioned? That would have moved his whole timeline up by a year. Earlier entry could mean a different team drafting him, different coaching staff, and a different supporting cast from day one.
Yeah, and it could change contract timing too. The NBA uses a rookie scale, basically preset contracts for first-round picks, so shifting a year alters when a player is eligible for extensions and free agency. That, in turn, might affect whether he re-ups sooner, when a superteam is even possible, and how long a franchise gets to build around him before key decisions hit the calendar.
It also touches health and development. One less year of high school wear and tear is tiny, but one more year in the NBA is a big ramp-up in travel and workload. Maybe he adapts even faster. Maybe the early spotlight shifts some bumps earlier. And without that senior year, you probably lose the pay-per-view experiment and some ESPN moments, and the jersey suspension saga never happens, which subtly changes the public narrative around him.
I keep thinking about team dynamics, too. If he lands with a different franchise a year earlier, maybe a different front office philosophy surrounds him, more shooters or a slower build or a faster push for veterans, a tiny nudge at the start can ripple. You could see different playoff matchups, maybe even a different route to those early finals. But honestly, given his adaptability, I think the through line, superstar impact, still happens.
Yeah, that checks out. Some things change at the edges, but the core, the size-skill combo, the vision, the leadership, probably delivers wins wherever he starts. Still, it's a fun rabbit hole to imagine how 1 year shifts the map.
Stay curious and keep exploring. There's always another layer to uncover.
Yeah, totally. On to the next idea when you're ready.